Did I miss the sound system here?
I hear you.
Oh, he hasn't started yet. Okay, I'm sorry.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا تحسبن الله غافلا عما يعمل الظالمون إنما يؤخرهم ليوم تشخص فيه الأبصار مهطعين مقنعي رؤوسهم لا يرتد إليهم طرفهم وأفئدتهم هواء وأنذر الناس يوم يأتيهم العذاب فيقول الذين ظلموا ربنا أخرنا إلى أجل قريب نجب دعوتك ونتبع الرسل أولم تكونوا أقسمتم من قبل ما لكم من زوال وسكنتم في مساكن الذين ظلموا أنفسهم وتبين لكم كيف فعلنا بهم وضربنا لكم الأمثال وقد مكروا مكرهم وعند الله مكرهم وإن كان مكرهم لتزول منه الجبال فلا تحسبن الله مخلف وعده رسله إن الله عزيز ذو انتقام.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا كريم. Would like to welcome all of you to tonight's session inshallah for Sheikh Mohamed Hilali. Sheikh Mohamed Hilali have been delivering those lectures for the last 2 years under the title of Reviving the Ummah. Tonight session lecture inshallah specifically it will be about the month of Muharram, specifically maybe the 10th of Muharram, which comes tomorrow by the way. This lecture inshallah will take between 20 to 25 minutes, then we'll open the session for question and answer, but please make sure your question around the subject, the topics, and also this lecture is recorded, so be around the topic so everybody can benefit. Inshallah, Sheikh Mohammed, I'll let you know when we reach the time, the 25 minutes, but go ahead inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to spread his mercy on us and to guide us to the straight path and to follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, where we are here not just reflecting and learning, but trying to implement and practice and move forward as a replicant to the life that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam established in Medina. So before I start this subject, and inshallah we'll talk a little bit about Hijrah and a little bit about Muharram and Ashura. There are two concepts that real abstract, so let's start with it. Number one, is it possible that you change the direction but you keep the goal and objectives fixed? This is a question many people think if you change the direction, then the goal has been a change, and that is not true, absolutely not true. And especially history telling us the other way around, that you can change direction while you are maintaining the ultimate goal and the objective goal that you want to achieve. And the Hijrah is one example. The direction of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to revive Mecca, to purify Mecca, to restore the freedom of religion and the oneness of Ibrahim that established in Mecca. And then, as we know, found after 13 years that he's going nowhere. There are definitely quality numbers who followed him. They are few, they are scattered, they are powerless, they are role-less, they are not part even of the society in Mecca. And so Allah given him hint that you continue this way, you did 13 years and you might add 13, 20 is not going to do any good. It changed direction, but the goal is still the same, that to share this deen and this mercy to mankind. So sallallahu alayhi wasallam moved to At-Ta'if, and that is a change in direction. Moved to communicate with tribes coming to Hajj, and that is a change in direction. Then he sent Muslims to Abyssinia, and that is change in direction. And finally, he was guided to leave Mecca and go to Medina. That is a change in direction, but the goal, it is establishing the oneness of Allah, building ummah that is united, and that is emitting light and guidance to humanity. It stays all the time same. The people who have knowledge of mechanical engineering, they know that very well. You can move, change the direction of force, but finally you end up to where you want to achieve. Look to the car. There are many parts in the car, moving in many different directions, but all of them, by the end of the day, the purpose is to move the car forward, and it will move. You see the steering moving in one direction, the piston moving in one direction, the tires moving in one direction, the cooling system moving in one direction. So we need to understand this, this concept that a change in direction should not make us believe that we have to forfeit our goal. Our goal cannot be changed, and that is mercy to mankind. That is number one. And number two, history has a cycle, just like the week has a cycle, a month, a year, and the universe. Many scientific phenomena has a cycle, and the same thing, life of human being has a cycle. So this cycle, most of the time, we do not understand the cycle of history. Cycle of history means turning in another direction, but it's gonna lead to the same result, to the result that's been set forward before. Turning direction of history is not a 90-degree turn, is not sharp turn, is not 0-degree turn, and that's why we are so frustrated. It's too long. It is 100 years. It is 50 years. It was 13 years in Mecca. It was so and so forth, and we did not see the light by the end of the tunnel. We see as if we does not exist, have no role in the living human being affairs, has no role as a Muslims. And on top of that, as we know, Muslims in the West, where they have the leverage of freedom, they have no role in the affair of the larger community. We are not here to pray and fast and sit in the cave, and that's called masjid. We are not here for that. we are here to share the mercy of Allah to all mankind. And that's why in tafsir we have read لِيَكُونَ لِلْعَالَمِينَ نَذِيرًا. So Hijrah was exactly to set up the stage where Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the believers around him and those who are coming after him to be warner to mankind. So from that, in understanding the Hijrah, it is not a change in places, it is not too much oppression, it is the environment is not going to lead to achieve your goal, where Islam is going to rise just like the sun rise, and all humanity on earth will see it and observe it. That is, otherwise, as we said last time, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam could have gone to Abyssinia peacefully. Nobody is gonna bother him. He can worship as much as he wants, read Quran as much as he wants, practice Islam as much as he wants, but under the conditions of environment which is non-Islamic environment. So with that, we come to realize also in the Quran, and there are people who wrote in book, that Hijrah is must for every prophet. Means people have expelled their messengers and their prophets from their homeland. Nuh was forced to leave. Ibrahim was forced to leave 3 times. Musa was forced to leave. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was forced to leave. And many scholars and many those who follow their steps were forced to leave their place in order to gain a leverage and freedom and means and empowerment, only to go back and clean the mess that you left behind. So Hijrah and Ikhraj is a sunnah followed with all prophets, no exception whatsoever. And that we need to know also for Muslims to be expelled if they were not tortured, persecuted, imprisoned, or killed. They are going to be pushed out and to be forced to migrate to a certain place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He assured us there will be a place where you can practice your religion freely. Now, what we need to realize that the model the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam established in Medina, it doesn't exist today anymore. As we look to Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, "Inni askantu min dhurriyyati biwadin ghayri dhi zar'in 'inda baytika al-muharram." So Ibrahim, his priority not to build the Kaaba, though he already know the place of the Kaaba. And he said, I left my son and wife next to the Kaaba. Kaaba as a building does not exist at that time. He later, when Ismail became 14, 15, built the building of the Kaaba. So the Kaaba is the place where the building is going to stand as a mark for that blessed place. So he has to see what priority is first. Human development, Ismail, his mother, and the tribes that joining them, and disseminating Iman, bringing harmony, understanding, and cohesiveness in that community. Then he built the Kaaba. That was his priority, and made it that center, or see the Kaaba. وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ. Never said for أذن in the believer. Don't call on the believer alone, or the Muslims alone, or Arabs alone, or the tribes around you alone. أَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ. Well, he called at that time, but his call must reach all nas. By you and me, by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by the companions who spread throughout the whole globe, and by the coming generations until the end of the day, that his call must be determined, fate of it, to reach all mankind. And the purpose is not to come to worship or to do tawaf or to do sa'i. لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ. And then وَيَذْكُرُ اسْمَ اللَّهِ. So first to collect, to benefit from the coming over here, and then to also pray and glorify the Kaaba and manifest the oneness of Allah. So this is how the approach of Ibrahim to make the message of Allah is shared by all humanity. The same way Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his arrival to Medina, exactly he did what Ibrahim alayhi wasallam did. Many think the Prophet built the masjid and that's the end of it, and Muslims become just in the masjid for their own selves. No, absolutely not. How many, first of all, in the masjid, even wrestling competition was held in the masjid. Nursing and teaching nursing was held in the masjid. All kinds of sports and training, to go expedition, to navigate the Arabia and the whole world was practiced and taught in the masjid of Rasulullah. To settle dispute, to receive delegations the way they are, like the delegation of Najran, who were Christians, and they went there with one purpose in their mind, to convert Muhammad to Christianity. That was their belief and their determination, the desire and wish. And they were equipped to come there for a period of time, more than a week, basically to convince and to preach and to rationalize to the Prophet ﷺ that he should follow them. He let them do it in his masjid sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He never ever said anything that you get to do this, we cannot listen to you, you worship an idol, you are wrong, I am, never said so. Nor he blamed, or he gave up, or he gently hosted them, talked to them, make them taste and feel the deen before hearing the word, reciting only Quran to them. Whatever they say, he has some answer from the Quran recited to them, and then they give up and went back home. So this is what we are supposed to do in our communities, and we have to believe, we have to understand that masjid is incapable out of the masjid structure and reach to utilize all resources, all Muslims, all talents, all gifted people, all clever people, is not going to happen whatsoever, no matter what you do. So the right way for Muslims to wake up and just go beyond the masjid, and going beyond the masjid, reach to everybody. Honestly, Muslims who goes beyond the masjid, they go to something called interfaith, and that is a black hole. Whatever goes in there never come back. We're supposed to go to intrafaith. I don't know if you understand what is the difference between interfaith and intrafaith. We're supposed to go into the intrafaith, the religious institutions the way they are, connect and communicate and dialogue and share the mercy to all of them the way they are, the way they were. You start from where they are, not from where you are. This a ministry called Ministry of Interfaith. It's the purpose of it to consume and to benefit the person who is engaged with them. But when you come to critical moments, they leave you alone. They never supported Muslims when the Israeli bombarding Gaza. They said, no, we are not part of that. So I think fine, the Muslims like to do that. Leave them alone. our goal, our obligation to start interacting with intra-faith. We should have already met. We should have a list. We should have known what are the denomination are around us, what they do, what they believe, how they are different, how we can connect and communicate, who are among them very rigid, who among them is very lenient, who is among them is really looking for guidance. All of this should have been done long time ago. Masjid is not in this business, and they are incapable to have a vision and to move forward. They are capable to rule and control and limit, just like the masjid in the Muslim world. So with that, the concept of hijrah totally different, and we this moment need to move on and start learning the concept of hijrah, where we are able to share the mercy of Allah to all mankind, starting with our neighbors, starting with services to all kind of people around us, and from there they can see who are you, what you are doing. These brothers who do every Sunday, once a month, feeding the homeless in downtown, they just see them coming. They come from everywhere and leave everybody else. Those churches who come there to feed them, they leave them alone and come to these brothers. They see mercy, they see light, they see passion, they see love, they see genuine care, not just handling food like you throw the bone to the dogs as anybody else. So with that, now move on. There is a problem. Muslims have bought into it wrongly. That is, there are two Islam Sunnah, Islam Shia. This is false. This is fabricated. This is a trick. This is a lie. There is only one Islam. And there is a minority of Muslims who does not want to follow the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They want to follow the teaching of their imams, to follow the teaching of their own desires. And that is a small group when you compare to the Muslim Ummah, 1.5, 2 billion Muslims. These are less than 20%. Now the Western society, the enemies of Islam, have made us even Muslims, saying Sunnah, Islam Sunnah, Islam Shia, and we got into it. There is only one Islam, Islam of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Islam of Quran, Islam and Sunnah, Islam of obedience totally the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions. There are many groups, small groups, minorities. They want to go that way or this way. Leave them alone. Let them do it. We know, dear brothers and sisters, Islam, that they are after three things. Number one, a political agenda. And number two, honestly, and the main one is they are after building wealth. Every single imam of these, imam of Shia, he is a millionaire. He is collecting the money of the poor and the needy and spend it whatever they want to spend it in the wrong way and teach misleading, misinforming humanity about that. Every single one of them, so far called imam, basically he is entitled, make his followers to believe he is entitled to their life and money and everything, even wives. So this is a group of people wants to go that way, and they basically keep mourning whom? Yes, Al-Hussein belong to the Sunnah, does not belong to the Shia. Al-Hussein, he was objecting political things, that Yazid being put as Khalifa forcefully, and that is against the Shura, and he is least qualified, and that is not the teaching of Islam. And consultation of the Sahaba and the scholars was not taken except by force. So he had a genuine Islamic, pure Islamic objectives to object, but he did not realize that he cannot do much. Many Sahaba actually advised him not to go forward, especially to Iraq. They told if you go to Damascus, to the Khilafah, you will be better off. But you go to Iraq, what is in Iraq? Many of them advise him, and not a single known Sahabi was really recommending him, supporting him, approving his movement. He was brave, definitely. He saw the wrong things, and he was willing to sacrifice his life. And that is a good model, and that is a good thing. We reflect on the agony, on the pain, not in the principles, not in the teaching, not on the goal, not the Muslims from all sides. They just reflect on the pain and the killing. Brothers, Umar ibn al-Khattab, who is greater Khalifa, was killed and murdered, slaughtered in the Qibla of the Masjid. Ali ibn Abi Talib, the father, and so many great Sahaba were same thing in Khulafa. Muslims do not mourn forever. Whatever happened is happened. Learn and teach and acquire knowledge and understand the purpose behind it, the philosophy behind it. Don't divide. Now,
Yalla, inshallah, we conclude.
Okay, so what we see, the action of the extreme Shia, they are bringing the opposition of Yazid and Muawiyah. Honestly, if you look to their rulers and their scholars, with no exceptions, they are worse than Yazid and Muawiyah. Why did stand up against those who are ruling you? Look to the youth of the Shia, have realized this and start doing protests in Basra for the whole 6-7 months, resisting and saying this is just the wrong way, the deviant way, and we are not going to follow you. And that is a awakening, and that is the mercy of Allah coming to them. But we Muslims know for sure that there is only one Islam. There is minorities, many minorities. One of them is the Shia or the Ja'fariyah or many sects of Shia. We don't have to worry about it. That's what they want to do. Let them do it. We need to move on to share the mercy of Islam, just like the Hijrah, as the Prophet ﷺ did in Medina. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Barakallah fi. Okay, so this is like a tough topic. Whoever, inshallah, interested to share and participate, ask, add, please go ahead. Sheikh Adil. تفضل. Can't hear you.
Sheikh Hilal, about the ayah, you mentioned the ayah ليشهدوا منافع لهم وليذكروا اسم الله في أيام معلومات. So my question is the chronological order of the ayah, that means ليشهدوا منافع لهم, that they get the benefit of it, is come like priorities for that, or that's something just came with there?
Good question. Islamically, even the fiqh concept that the Muslims to go there for purpose of business and making hajj is fine with double intention, but not in any other. You cannot go to the masjid with double intention. You cannot pray with double intention. You cannot do any other Islamic obligation with double or triple intention except for hajj. That's why they come up with this conclusion that you can go for purpose of making business and doing hajj. So that is manafi'ah. But manafi'ah is beyond just making business, interacting and understanding the Muslim world. And it is a prayer where the rest of humanity see this is the day for Muslim prayer. 2 million uniform and doing the same motion, just like any military parade, showing the force, showing the number, showing the unity, showing the strength of Iman and strength of crowd.
جزاك الله خير. زياد تفضل.
السلام عليكم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Well, it's interesting, Sheikh, to talk about Hijrah again, like last week. So, Sheikh, I mean, I kind of understood that Hijrah is an opportunity that Allah gave to His people or to His worshipper to change location and to change the environment. Though Sheikh, it's not every nation used it that way. Even the people of Musa did not use it that way, Sheikh.
People of the people of Musa, they did it that way, but they start from below zero. Sahaba start way above zero. They have these morals and characters and traditions and culture and heritage and history left by Ismail. So they were 30 degrees above zero. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ give them another boost. Within 20 years, everything is finished. Musa started with 200 degrees below zero, slaves. And you want them to become masters? Definitely. They are not going to use it the same way, but the purpose was the same thing, at least to liberate them and to empower them. And Allah has said in the Quran that the purpose of them to stand up as a model for mankind of mercy and iman and faith.
So that puts us in a tough position, Sheikh. Now we are 300 degrees above zero, and we cannot move a single degree right now.
You mean above or below?
We should be above. We inherited the Prophet here.
Good. Okay. Now let's talk about this. Are we above zero or below zero? Where are we? Definitely, we are not below zero because we have the Quran, we have the Salah, we have the Iman, we have the books, we have the tafsir, we have the traditions, we have the Sahaba, we have the Da'wah, we have the infrastructures, we have so many things. Definitely, we are not zero or below zero. What is the problem? The problem is that twofold. One, from inside, where we don't want to get to the Quran and understand it and just basically apply whatever we can to apply. We have decided this is the portion of what we got. Leave it aside. Or put it for blessings, for occasions, for reciting, for memorizing, for decorating, for so on and so forth. Though, as again, Allah said in Surah Al-Furqan, لِيَكُونَ لِلْعَالَمِينَ نَذِيرًا. Who said this? Allah. To be a source of warning. Now, who has the power and the might and the courage and the nerve to change it and say, no, it's not going to be Nadira anymore? And then this is tomorrow, we will discuss how we achieve that. That is the purpose and the goal Allah set. How we achieve it. The means we are going after is never going to lead us to fulfill that goal and function of the Quran. Whatever we do right now here or back home is not. This is from our side. So we build a barrier, walls between us and the Quran. And we basically change not just the direction, or change even the purpose and the goal of the Quran. From the other side, definitely, is the enemies of Islam. Now, maybe this is something is going to be shocking to you. You know what? Why Europe naturalized LGBT? And just last week, there was a topless, bottomless woman gathering in France, and somebody was criticizing. The president himself came in a word saying this is freedom. You know why they're doing this? Honestly, they are doing this to immune European against Islam. To say, if our people is going to be like that, Islam and Muslims will never be interested in it. And they are going to be far away to stay away from Islam. This is the religious, the strategic purpose of spreading immorality and finishing whatever left from the church in Europe and the Western society, especially Protestant, to immune those people from Islam, to penetrate, to conquer, to reach them. They are scared of it. They see their people vulnerable. They see their people will become Muslim if they have traces of true religion from the church. So they are really trying to put this fire off, where they look around Muslims and Muslims and Muslims around us. And finally, let me tell you another good news. And this is real good news, and it is real new. Probably nobody ever know about it. Look, whatever they do to stop Islam from spreading in the Western world is going to fail 100%. Why? Because, yes, maybe we are weak and our masjid is dysfunctional and our youth a little bit that way and our woman is that way and we are among us still ignorant and far from all of these problems. Allah said, give them time. The time is working against their plan. What is it? We already, as Muslims, by the grace of Allah, with no intention from us, we already established a fountain and a very strong stream of Muslims in every backyard of Europe and Western society, which are the second generation. We produce kids and kids and kids and kids. No matter how much they are far, this is a stream, very powerful, of Islam. It's going to grow beyond their control. It's going to take over. It's going to make them the spotlight of the whole Western society. You are worried about the first generation. Don't worry about it. The number is going to grow beyond ability, beyond imagination, and definitely with a small loyalty, a small traces of Islam, they only going to hold to Islam. When you compare to the other people, to the generation of non-Muslims, they are going basically in a loss. They cannot control them. They cannot guide them. They don't want them to go to church. They want them to be immoral. They want them to mix, to have children from everywhere. So if that's the way they build their generation and their future, Allah is so merciful to them. Brought the Muslims' kids, family, to produce a very powerful stream of young people, of Muslims, boys and girls, and second generation, third, and they are going to become majority. And they have, with no doubt, traces of Islam. Islam is coming. And they have been screaming, Islam is coming. Wallahi, Islam is coming from their backyard. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, before we conclude, inshallah, anybody have any final question, inshallah, before we move on? If there is no question, just a reminder for tomorrow, inshallah, we will have our tafsir with Sheikh Mohamed, inshallah, Surah Al-Furqan, starting 8:30, inshallah. Okay.
Jazakumullah khair. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khair. Barakallah feekum. See you inshallah tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah. Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
We conclude and we say Jazakumullah khair for all of you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for coming and spending the time with us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to elevate us and give us the best and reward all of us, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.